Alright guys, welcome out to the shop today. We have a new project right here in front of us. Is Ariens, I think that's how you pronounce it, or Ariens tiller. This is an older model. Well, I don't really know anything else about it. A lot of the linkage isn't together right now, so I'm trying to figure out how all of this runs together and how everything operates. I know that it does have fuel. I know it is missing an the pull cord.
Where did the pull cord go? Oh, right here.
One thing that I've been seeing online, kind of looking at this, is that a lot of these pull cords in these tillers rip off. It's got a lot shorter of a stroke, so when you pull it, it's not like normal where you think you can pull it 3 feet. It's only pulling like, I don't know, 1.5 feet. So it's a really short stroke. But one of the things I know we have to get figured out is the linkage, because that's kind of important. And like for the carburetor, it's got the throttle on there, but there's nothing going to it, and it's also got the choke. So like for this section right here, this is all your linkage. You have, it looks like the fuel lines right here, and that actually looks like it might be a little bit big for that. I'm not 100% sure yet. It looks like some of our linkage right here is missing. The throttle linkage is gone, but I know that this right here is for the throttle. So whenever you pull the throttle up on the top, this should move one way or the other, and we got to figure out all that stuff. And then I think in turn it would turn this, and then it comes around here and adjust with this somehow. So I've got to figure all that out and figure out where should we start? We gotta replace that pull cord.
This.
Pull cord is first, so we're gonna have to take off a couple of screws and then get a pull cord in here so that we can actually see if it has spark, stuff like that.
Daddy, what's the thing that goes boom, 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 boom? It's like that thing, but that was what I was saying about the thing that goes.
I don't have a clue what you're talking about.
It's like the thing that inside it. Dad. It's like that. The thing like the.
In the gear?
It's I don't know what it's called, but it's something with a round thingy, and it has a thing to turn up, and when you thought it goes like that way, back and forth.
The piston?
Yeah.
Oh, the piston is in, this is your cylinder head.
Yeah.
So your piston's in here somewhere.
Yeah, and that's what I actually want to talk on.
No, we gotta get this replaced so we can actually see if it'll roll over.
Okay, but we both need to see the
We can't see if it's got spark without a pull cord, because you actually have to move it so that the piston rotates and all this stuff goes.
Yeah.
So we gotta check first to get a pull string on there.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and do that first.
Yeah, but Dad, what are these for?
The cover off, and it's a fairly small. See if that one will fit those two little screws on the front cover. There it goes.
This way.
And we need a.
This way, I guess. It's gonna blow out gas everywhere.
No, that's just the cover.
Oh, blow out gas.
Nope.
Righty
tighty.
Righty tighty. Righty tighty. But that's good.
Hey, it's hot in here today.
Yeah.
Oh, we got this off.
Wait.
There's the pull string that's broken.
Well, how does it wait?
Huh?
How did it weigh?
I don't know. So the next thing we need to do is, so you pull it this way.
I think I should open the gas thing.
So
Oh, there's gas in here. This is cool. This is
we should be able, I thought we should be able to roll that over. So let's go ahead and spin this around.
Good.
Where's the thing at? There we go.
Here's the chassis of the car. I'm guessing. How do you get this thing in? I'm getting it in. Up there. Can I do this?
I need you to kind of, here, let me see this. Push that cord in. Push the in.
Okay.
No, the cord. There you go. Alright. Now, push. There we go. Alright. Now we'll put this right here so that it doesn't unwind.
As he does it.
What happened?
Oh, nothing.
Oh, you think there's a snake behind you or something? You kind of jumped.
No, it's just the thing.
It looks like you just pull that out and it should wind itself up. You think so?
Yeah. Hey! Hey! How good do we need this be?
Alright, so there we go. So what you do is you wind it and then now
How do
yeah,
you
go ahead and
wind
pull
it?
it out a little bit.
How do you wind it? How's that?
And now after you pin it and then we got it so that we can pull it out. So now it's got a little bit longer of a stretch than what we had originally thought. Alright, bring it back.
Now, how do we get this on? How do you get this on?
Alright, so now what we can do is take this handle and we gotta get the,
Oh, you bought that thing off?
oh, this is a fancy one. I'm used to, the ones I have is just a hole like that. So now what we can do is we can put this in here.
Then,
And then, hold on a second, we gotta get this.
Oh, we're Steve up.
Alright, and then we'll,
I see what you're doing.
how's this go?
Yeah. It's so hard. How do you get this in?
Squeeze them hard. Oh, alright. Open them. Alright, let me see it.
That's hard. That's...
Yeah, sometimes it is.
Why do you think they say so hard?
You just kind of gotta work at it sometimes. We need a lighter. So,
Okay.
don't touch this after I put. Is this one garbage? Did you give me the bad one? There we go.
I found you on it.
Ah, that one must be the empty one.
Woo!
There we go.
Why do you not touch
That
it?
stupid fan was on. Alright, now after we get it heated up, you gotta be careful. This will burn your fingers.
Yes.
You gotta be ready for that little bit of pain as it comes in there. So now what we'll do is we'll tuck this back in, and this goes in the handle just like that. So now we have your fancy handle set up, right? Nice and fancy.
Yeah.
And then we can undo that, and then look, now we got a nice pull.
Whoa, this is nice.
So you have a lot more pull on this, alright? So now we need to reinstall this.
That's why I'm not giving my...
Alright guys, so just like that we have the new pull cord attached.
Yay!
And so, look at that, it works. So I got that good reach. So it's got a little bit of extra I probably could have put this down a little bit further. Nice thing about this is that I can probably pull that out and go ahead and here, you want to try it? Come over there and pull on it. Come on, pull. Pull. And double check just to make sure that we have spark.
Yeah.
I know he said that he did, so where is the wrench for the spark plugs? Once he pulled this out, he looked at it and said that it was really dirty, but the one thing that I noticed is about how big of a gap this has, and so I'm going to go ahead and close that up just a little bit. I just went ahead and closed that up a little bit. That way we made sure we had good transition for that electricity. Ready? So we're checking for spark, right? Did you see a light?
Nope. Oh, yep. It has spark. It has red bar. It has spark.
All right. So that's really good. So now what we'll do is we'll pull that off and we'll go ahead and see if we can put a little bit of fuel in there and see if we can get it to fire over. Where's your wrench at? All right, you want me to help you?
Yep.
All right, there you go. All right, you should be able to unscrew it now with your hand. Other way. Other way. Just like that. Good job.
Oh, that's boring. Yep, good.
All right, watch your hands now. Let's see if we can get this thing to fire over.
This is only the safe one.
Ooh, that sounded like it, didn't it? There we go.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's all the fuel that we have for it in there. And but that's good. That means that now we can work on some of the other items, such as all of this crap right here. So fiddling around with this, we have the air filter right here. I found the wing nut that was tucked up inside of here. This hose, I was wondering where it went, and then I realized that this was coming from the actual engine, which on other on like your small engines, other stuff like that, this is where some of your air comes back into your line. And so I mounted this up right here and saw that this choke handle is going to be hitting the air cleaner anytime that you try to remove the choke from the carburetor. So one thing that we need to do is bend. Yep, we need to bend this flat to get it out of the way of the air filter. I checked, we do have fuel in here, and so I'm assuming we have fuel in the fuel bowl. And then the throttle, I'm still unsure of exactly. I think this. So I think this is all frozen up here in this line. I took this off, which was holding the line right here, or here, somewhere like that. And I'm able to start moving the parts up here a little bit. This, I think, is supposed to go to the throttle. This little bar, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a little bar right here. I think that's supposed to go to the throttle, but it's way too short. And then this part right here goes to the back somewhere in the transmission, and I've got to figure out where all these linkages go. This one was kind of laid up in the middle, but I don't think that's where it's supposed to be. So one thing at a time, I'm trying to take it step by step, trying to figure out. I tried to find a manual online and it's just not working. Now if I go to mount this up, it should be out of the way. Yeah, so now I can take off the choke completely. But then it's gonna hit the throttle. So I won't be able to put, well, it should be right in there. So I should be able to bend it up just a bit. We'll have to play around with that a little bit more, but I think that it's at a decent height right now. Another thing that I was wondering is about the Deadman Switch right here. It doesn't look like there's anything going to it right now for some reason. So I think something is supposed to hit this and it's supposed to trigger it to cut off. But there's nothing on it. There's nothing that is attaching it to anything to say, hey, cut off. So one thing that I was thinking about is that if you have the kill switch always engaged, is that you won't have any spark. But we have sparks, that means that there is no kill switch engaged for sure. But we need to figure out how to control the throttle, because I think even though we have fuel in there, so we just started trying to figure out if we were going to be able to get fuel from the carburetor, and I didn't realize that the tines were engaged and it ate my tripod. So this is a dangerous situation, obviously. But yeah, so now we got to get the camera out of there. Sorry fella, now we need a new tripod. One thing that I'm looking at real quick to that I should have done beforehand to make sure that the tines weren't on the ground, because I don't know exactly what controls the tines yet, is I should have made sure that this bar was keeping it up off the ground. And one thing that I noticed is that whoever had this had it in there backwards. So the tines wouldn't, or you would have always been engaged in the tines. But now I can go ahead and use my head. Now I can go ahead and go to the first hole, wherever that is. And this controls your depth of how deep you want the tines in. So now I've got it in that first hole, and let me see if I can tip you guys down. Ooh, sorry. And now I've got plenty of clearance underneath the tines, so that if they do start up, they can spin, but it won't grab and go forward. And I don't think the wheels are engaged either. I'm not 100% sure, because I don't know exactly what is controlling what yet, but we're figuring that out. Let's go ahead and try once again to pull on it and see, because I got the choke closed right now, and we'll see what happens. Alright, so that's good. Alright, so we've got, we have it to where it is running a little bit. Alright guys, a little bit more fiddling around with this. I found out that the rear tines, I'm trying to figure out how that all works, but I think that it is engaged all the time right now. The linkage, I think, is stuck. So I'm trying to work some of that stuff loose. I'm using some of this probe right here, or no, sorry, PB Blaster, and trying to spray it in between the areas where it would be moving, just to make sure that everything's all loose with that. Like I said, I'm not familiar with this at all and how this is supposed to be running, but I know that there is two pedals, or two I guess, gears right here that engage, disengage maybe. So there's some of them are stuck, and we need to kind of work them loose. See that one? So that one's bending. So that linkage is bent. So I think something in there is froze up, and this one somewhat moves. That one controls the gearbox right here. I think that's just for engaging the wheels. After I started soaking some of that down so I could sit there for a little bit, I started messing with this, and I think that the throttle, the way it is I don't know, something's still not right with it. But what I ended up doing was able to hold the throttle wide open, and because I think there's somehow this linkage isn't long enough, and it needs to be pushing against the throttle, I think. I'm trying to figure out how that is, because if I pull the cable, it would pull this down, and then it's supposed to, but this needs to be opened up like this. But anyway, so if I open that up, and I can actually oh, now it's not going to want to start. Let's go half choke. So I kept pulling and pulling on it, and it wasn't getting any fire. And then I noticed that, can you guys see how wet the spark plug is? So I'm gonna let this, or I'm gonna blow it out and see what the deal is. See how we can adjust the fuel and get it so that it's not putting so much fuel without actually firing off. Let's try this again real quick. So I'm trying to figure out, the last time I took out the spark plug, it was really wet, and now I blew it all out. I don't have any kind of any fire like I thought I should have. So I came down here and I'm checking out the carburetor, and I'm pulling it off, and there's no fuel in the carburetor or in the float bowl. So somewhere I've either got a clog, or it's just not wanting to deliver the fuel like I want to. So I guess what I need to do is hook up the fuel line back onto it, because I got fuel that'll pour out of the line. And right now I should have fuel. Let me hook this back up so that it doesn't come off. Alright, so once I release this, I should have fuel pouring out of the float. So right now I see a problem, that I don't have this pinched off anywhere, and I have absolutely no fuel coming out of the needle seat area. So if I take this out, I wonder if fuel will start to run out. Oop. It's coming out the wrong way. So put that there in case I need to hurry up and put it back on. Ah, there it goes. So I think something was stuck with that needle for some reason. So now if I, yeah, there we go. All right, cool. Now we got some fuel flowing. So we'll have the choke halfway. The throttle is kind of open. It's not really wide open, but I did adjust the throttle setting, or the idle setting. So let's see what's gonna go on with it. Get out of here for a minute. It's getting way too smoky, and then I'll grab it. Maybe I should grab it and pull it outside. Woo! It's getting smoky in there. I need to get that thing out of here. Oh my gosh. And yes, if you're wondering if it's really that heavy, yeah, it's heavy. Okay. So still a little bit too smoky in here. We ran out of fuel in the actual gas tank. And so I'm gonna go get some more. I don't have any extra right now at the time. Gotta go get some more. And then we gotta figure out what we are going to be doing. So I know that one of these little linkages that comes down. All right, so one linkage I found out that it controls the steering box. The other one from the handles controls your tines. So this spring right here is broken. So once you engage it, you actually have to come over and kind of physically lift it up out of the way. On day 2 of working on the tiller, and I went ahead and got the air cleaner all attached. We had to find 2 screws to mount into the actual carburetor. I have adjusted the idler screw a little bit, and I haven't ran it since putting the air cleaner on. So I don't know if I have to adjust the main jet at all, but we've got the return air, or the exhaust, going back into the air cleaner now. A couple of things that I want to try. I'm not too worried about the throttle cable right now because it's idling fine. I'm sure that if you got into something, the whole cable needs to be replaced. I think that the cable is rusted inside of there and it won't move one bit. I took some pliers and I tried to pull it a little bit and it's not doing anything. So I think that it is rusted on the inside of this cable housing, and it's laying really low for some reason, I guess for whenever you go and turn the handle. I've worked on the handle turning a little bit, and that little pull section works a little bit better. It's still fairly stiff, but we're gonna add some fuel in here, make sure it starts while we're in here, and then if it fires right up, we'll go ahead and take it outside and see if I can figure out how to actually just make it go. I've seen some videos of these where they're like automatic, where you hit one of your switches and the wheels just lock and they just start turning. So that's what I want to try to figure out. I've already gotten the tines to where they're rotating on and off. I tried to work on the spring a little bit off camera, trying to get it so that this wouldn't always stay engaged, or you had to come over here and physically pull it off. And as you can see, I've got the belts loose. So what I ended up doing was wrapping this around as tight as possible, and then I bent it right here. You can see like there's a little L-shaped thing, and it comes up and hooks right here. And I think it was before right in that bottom hole, but I just went ahead and bent it right there. And I have tested it a few times, and let me see if I can do this one-handed. So you push it and it engages, and then you pull it, and you guys can see that it popped right back up. See that? So now the spring part works, which is a good safety aspect of this, because before, without it, it was constantly engaged. And what that whole belt mechanism is this is your crankshaft or your drive shaft, and it's ran to these two belts, which is ran down here, and this is all loose, and that is like, I guess that's the drive shaft, and it comes all the way back through here. And when you engage these levers, that's what either engages the wheels or you know, your different speeds, things like that. But yeah, so this one little pulley right here is a main aspect to make sure that you aren't always engaged. So what I want to go ahead and do next is try to work on this lever right here, because the other safety aspect is when you are running this, there's no way to stop it. So I want to try to get this loosened back up and pull it up in here so that we can go ahead and actually have a stop. Alright, so like I previously stated that I have no way right now to control the throttle that I can figure out. Because I think this is what controls it, and I don't know, I haven't figured that part out. But the one thing that I really want is this kill switch, or I believe it's called the Deadman Switch. When I want to stop it, I want this right here to come down and contact this, I believe. And to do that, we have to get this cable loosened up. So let's see if we can shove down on it. Oh, it's starting to go. There we go. Alright, so I'm taking the nuts off of the back side, and then we're going to try to pop them out, because it seems like the top of them is fairly stuck in there. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now I hope that I can get this part loosened enough to where I can put a new section in there. Got extra wire up here now. I was able to pull some of it through up here. And the only thing we have to make sure of is that when we do shut it down or whatever, it will make contact. But we can turn this guy, and then this should slip in there. There we go. Alright, so now we've got it in that little hole. And what we have to do now is make sure that it doesn't come back out. So put the wrench on there. and it was still not moving like I wanted it to, and I just checked and it actually broke the end off again. So I'm gonna end up having to get at least a new cable to go inside the middle, and that looks like it's just like a metal throttle cable like you'd be able to use on any kind of lawnmower. If you got a really long one, you just clip the end off. This is like 2 days after we had gotten it actually running, so we're gonna try it out real quick and just see, just to make sure that it still will start with no problems. We'll lift up that kill switch so that it doesn't do anything, and hopefully it starts up fine. Oh, I have a good feeling about that. Alright, cool. Well, the kill switch, I just went ahead and pushed down, and it sure enough did stop the engine. So all we need is a new cable. I want to get it to run today. I'm just going to get it running today. So what I've done is I've taken the outside jacket and the actual cable, and I've separated the two of them. I have sprayed some silicone lubricant down in the cable, and I've also rubbed it on the actual wire cable. And what I'm going to be doing is just feeding it through. And I've also clipped about 1 inch or so off of the end of this so that I can have a little bit more room to actually do anything with. So I'm just kind of coating the cable, that way it goes in a lot easier as we move it through, and then we should be able to reinstall it and it should work fine. Finally was able to get this attached, and I guess attached correctly to the to everything up above. And this cable still seems extremely long, like some of it needs to be zip tied somewhere. But what I want to show you guys is that it does function correctly with at least the kill switch. So right now I've got the throttle in the run position, which is straight up and down. We'll go ahead and start it and show you guys. Alright, so that's off. So that does work now. So when it runs away from me like it did before, I can go ahead and easily stop it this time instead of chasing after it and getting myself caught up in something. Alright guys, so that's it. I'm going to stop right there and leave this video as is. We've gotten a lot of the repairs done on it. We got the kill switch that works. We've gotten the other cable with the spring fixed, so now you can actually engage or disengage the wheels and the tines. You guys saw that it ran plenty of different times. You guys saw that it could till, and I'm kind of debating on whether or not to sell it. This would be a nice piece just to keep around in case I ever did need it. But then again, how often would I need one? And I could always find a different one later. Let me know what you guys think about that. Would you guys sell it? Would you guys keep it? Let me know. But that is the question I have right now. It's a cool little piece. So hope you guys enjoyed the video today, and appreciate you guys watching as always. We'll see you guys on the next one.